Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturning. For a long time now, I have turned eggs. I've been in search, however, for the perfect formula for an egg. Is it? What size is it? Whatever. I'll show you what I found in researching that in this video. But for now, with spring and Easter and such, it's time to turn an egg.
If you search the internet for information about drawing an egg, you will find something like this. I will keep it short, but start with two perpendicular axes. Draw a circle from the intersection or origin of the two lines. Draw horizontal lines tangent to the top and the bottom. Draw two more lines as shown here. Using the point at the bottom, draw an arc from the top to the 45-degree line, and do the same from the top. Then from the intersection of these two lines, draw an arc at the small end of the egg. If you are mathematically inclined, you can calculate a whole lot of ratios and relationships. The bottom line is, 1. The big end is a hemisphere, and the ratio of length to diameter is 1.29, or the length equals 1.29 times the diameter. To check this calculation against nature, I went to the refrigerator for a flat of 17 eggs and measured the diameter and length of each. Then I compared the results to the ideal of length equals 1.29 times the diameter. None of them conformed to the ideal. In fact, all of them exceeded the ideal. I went one step further, thinking that I could calculate key points to guide me while turning an egg. If I entered the diameter and how much I wanted the egg to stretch compared to the ideal, then I could create a process such as for the perfect sphere. However, I think I went too far. That was crazy and a waste of time. So I have decided on the following guidelines. 1. Turn a cylinder and measure the actual diameter. 2. Mark the big end of the egg. 3. Mark 1/2 the diameter as the largest diameter, the transition from big end to little end. 4. Calculate 1.39 times the diameter and mark this distance from the big end. This will be the small end of the egg. 5. Perhaps use some of the octagon method for a perfect sphere on the big end. And 6. Wing it for the small end. I have glued up this laminated block from Wenge, Paduk, Maple, Cherry, and Yellow Heart. It is mounted between a stem center and a live center. It will only take a few moments to cut this into a cylinder. Now to measure, calculate, and mark out key points on the surface of the cylinder. The first measure is the diameter, which drives all other measures. Then 1.39 times the diameter, which is my target overall length. This seems to work for me. I also need 1/2 of the diameter to show where the big end transitions to the small end. Then, borrowing from the octagon method, 0.293 times the diameter for the position of the 45-degree side of the octagon. Finally, 0.414 times the diameter for the octagon side that will be at the bottom. With all the preparation complete, I can focus on turning my egg. First, the 45-degree side between the transition point and the bottom of the octagon for my hemisphere. I do not have much wood to spare to the side of the headstock. I need a mounting tenon. With the tight quarters, I will cut this tenon right at the target end of the egg, then transition to a chuck mount. I will focus on the big end first. Trim the end with a live center divot. Then, as in the octagon method for the sphere, divide the sides in half and then half again. Using these lines, cut the corners again. Immediately go to the rounding the end to a hemisphere. I switch to a skew and use it as a negative rake scraper. A round ring shows where the high and low spots are. Now to taper down the small end. This I will wing, cutting it by eye. I want a smooth curve from the transition point to the end. However, the target end is buried in the wood exactly where the chuck jaws are, so I have to visualize. I found it helpful to gradually cut a profile, always tangent to the surface of the cylinder and increasing the angle, targeting to be tangent to the end, somewhere deep in the wood. This worked for me. Then, when close, change from a spindle gouge to a skew as a scraper. That is as much as I will go with steel tools. My next and very important cutting and shaping tool is the 80 grit sandpaper. I like to use canvas-backed sandpaper that I tear into strips. Then, especially for an egg, I hold the ends of the sandpaper and let it form a circle around part of the egg surface. I can use this in multiple directions so that the sandpaper removes the remaining high spots. I want to totally establish this surface with 80 grit paper. Then go on to the remaining grits whose job is solely to remove scratches left from the previous grit. The egg is still attached. This is a convenient time to apply shellac to most of the egg that is already finished. Shellac blends well to previous coats of shellac, so it will work well for what is coming next. Time to part off the egg. However, since there is so little excess wood, I will cut at an angle to have enough wood to cushion anything that may go wrong next. With a sanding pad on my spindle, I can sand off the excess wood. There is so little that this does not take very long. My focus is to keep the wood moving to avoid creating a flat and to blend the curves together for a good egg ending. This completes my search for the perfect egg. They are quickly turned, and who can resist a good serving of eggs?
The other question that comes up is how to finish the end of the egg. A friend of mine uses a collet chuck so that he turns the two ends separately and only has to use then cup chucks to finish the middle. Don't have those collet chucks, so what I did this time was to use a pad sander in a 1/4 inch mandrel in my headstock. Drill press is my backup for that. Another plan that have had for many years now is the egg chuck. It's made from a PVC fitting, 2 inch in this case. This egg was too big for that pretty much, so I just did it with the sandpaper. For even bigger egg, you could also use a donut chuck, such as this one, but actually this was quite convenient for me, so that's what I used this time.
Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website, and tell your friends about my videos. I appreciate your comments and questions. Every week I make a new wood turning video and add it to my website. Always, please wear your full face shield anytime the lathe is running. A face shield saved my life. It can save yours, but only if you use it. I will see you again next week.